Hi guys, it's Ben here from TX Space Station. How's everyone doing? Welcome to another video, and today we're going to be talking about open world video games. Firstly, this is some footage of Thunder Force 2 on the Sega Mega Drive, which is a game that I've been playing a lot of recently. This is a really good shooter that alternates between top-down and side-scrolling parts, and I'm really close to finishing it. I'm just down to the last 1 or 2 levels, but I'm going to get there pretty soon. I'm actually not playing it as well as I normally do on this, and I die a few more times than I would have liked, but never mind, you can see what the game looks like anyway. So yes, the topic is open world video games, and the question that I'm going to ask you guys is, are they asking too much of us these days? I got lots of games for Christmas and I've been slowly working my way through the list. I just finished Final Fantasy 15 recently, which I really enjoyed, and now I've moved on to Dragon Age Inquisition. Dragon Age Inquisition is an amazing game, and it must be one of the biggest games that I've ever played. It seems that people have got mixed feelings about it, because when I asked one of my friends who'd played it, he said to me, I kind of feel like the side quests are a bit menial. So he actually stopped playing it because of the number of side quests that he didn't feel were too important. I can kind of see what he's saying, but actually I think this game does the whole side quest thing in a very unique way, because they're all used as a necessary way of progressing the game, because you're essentially playing as the ruler of this Inquisition, and you need to get people to notice you and get notoriety and power. So the more things that you do around the area gain you influence, and they unlock new things, new abilities, new soldiers, new routes in the game and new areas. And so the side quests and the things that you're doing all feel as though they're part of the main campaign, which is a really clever way of making them important and interesting. Nevertheless, nothing could prepare me for quite how big this game is. It just seems to go on and on and on forever. Each time you go to a new place, you unlock all of these different things, new things to collect, new rifts to close, new factions to discover, and it very quickly becomes overwhelming. I mean, I really like open world games, and when they first came out, they were such a big revolution to me. Games that you could decide what the hell you wanted to do and in what order. And one of my favourite games back in the day, and remains to this day really, was Grand Theft Auto 3 on the PlayStation 2, because that was one of the first games where I truly played that sandbox thing where you could literally do whatever the hell you wanted, and not doing the main quest was actually, a big part of the fun. And I speak a lot about the Morrowind series, especially Skyrim, where I really enjoyed noodling around and doing whatever the hell I wanted, and just developing my character in a certain way. But now it seems that the scale is getting bigger and bigger, and the boundaries being pushed further and further back. And it's coming to a point where I'm starting to feel like I'm hitting saturation point, and I'm getting over-faced with these games. A lot of us have got pretty busy lives. I work pretty hard and don't have a massive amount of time to game. I kind of, spend 35 hours on Final Fantasy and things like that, and I can just about finish them. But it's like, how far is it going to go? How much is the game going to ask of you? Dragon Age Inquisition actually has so many different things to do and so many branching quests and side plots that I've actually started to forget where the main story was and what I was supposed to be doing to begin with. It's just so vast that I'm looking at it and thinking, actually have I bitten off more than I can chew here? I'm actually feeling genuinely over-faced. It's difficult if you have any completionist tendencies, or you're one of those people that doesn't like to ignore things that are becoming apparent in front of you in the game, because I think people like that are going to struggle more and more as we go forwards, because god damn, there's no way that you can be a completionist in these kind of games. Well, I mean, there is a way, but for Dragon Age Inquisition, you're talking 200 hours of gameplay there, which is just massive. And it's really difficult because there are so many different games that I want to play, and it's like I actually have to dedicate a huge chunk of my time to one thing. I guess we're all slightly more or slightly less twitchy when it comes to that. Like, some people can easily sit with one game for months and months and not need to move on to something else, but given the number of amazing PS4 titles that are coming out at the moment, it's very hard just to stick in one place for hundreds and hundreds of hours of gameplay. And I'm certainly starting to find that I'm feeling a bit twitchy now, given the amount of stuff that you've got to do in Dragon Age Inquisition. I think for me, I'm starting to realise that maybe I like a balance. I like a game where you can actually bash through the main quests in about 30 hours. That's probably where I think that my comfort area is. Longer than that, and I start to feel a little bit fidgety and a little bit overwhelmed. It's like, you're taking huge gulps and barely getting halfway through the meal here. It's like getting massively overfed. Now, we can see this as being a good thing, because actually it means that the worlds are growing and what we're experiencing is more and more advanced, and the real world is big, and the real world has multiple forking paths. So this is a step towards the realism that we always dreamed of, but it's kind of coming to a point now where bigger isn't always better. There has to be a kind of responsibility with that bigness. I think there are plenty of games that fall foul of making a huge world and then stuffing a load of shitty side quests in it, because it's actually really, really hard to make a big world realistically populated with interesting things to do. There are good examples of games where the side quests advance the plot and the story really well. I think that's something that's very important, and I would much prefer a smaller game with more to do or more meaningful things to do than a large game that's sparse or boring. But it's just an interesting question, how far is it going to go? Games can start getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We're going to get to a 1,000-hour game? We're going to get to 10,000 hours for a game? I'm actually starting to realise now that I'm starting to feel a bit saturated, so it may be that it's more important than ever to alternate your types of games, because, you know, I'm kind of playing through Final Fantasy then going straight on to another RPG, and actually that's very difficult to do now because of the size and the scale and the demands of these games. So maybe it's that you need to play one of them and then go play something completely different for a break. One thing that I have learned that I'm really benefiting from is to play 2 games at once. So alongside the massive JRPG, I've also been playing a lighter relief, shorter game so that I can dip into it when I'm getting stuck. You know, there are natural parts of RPGs where you may feel that things are a bit repetitive, or it's becoming grindy, or it's becoming very difficult, and you kind of need to take a bit of a step back from it, but you don't want to stop the game completely, but you just need some light relief and a bit of a break. And I found that retro gaming or platform gaming or sort of slightly more instant gratification games really help with that. And I've actually found that I can get a lot further in some of the big RPGs if I break it up and play another shorter game alongside it. So that's a really useful thing to know. You know, I take a look at the games that are coming out on the PS4, and I'm actually feeling not only excited, because I am, but also intimidated, because all of them have massive maps with lots and lots of question marks and things on the radar. You know, looking at some of the amazing games that I really want to play next, things like Horizon Zero Dawn or Mass Effect, I can see they're going to be exactly the same kinds of games with big worlds to explore and lots of different things that you kind of can't do. And I'm just for the first time starting to feel a little intimidated and a little bit sort of tired, I suppose. So I'm going to maybe wind down from Dragon Age and go and play something else for a while, and I'm not sure if I'm going to come back to it or not. So it's an interesting question. What do you guys think about this? Is it a good thing that we're getting bigger and bigger worlds? I mean, you know, I partly agree. I think it is good. Do you, like me, feel a bit overfaced at times? Are you managing to finish these games? Are you a completionist that's really bugged by the fact that it's taking you hours and hours and hours now to get the whole thing done? What do you reckon? Open world games, are they asking too much of us? Do they need to be scaled down a little bit? Or is this all just part and parcel of our increasing expansion and realism? Let me know, guys, in the comments below. Take care, and I'll speak to you all soon.